Hey guys, welcome back to Enduro Evolution, and in this video I'll be installing Racetech gold valves on my 2019 KTM 300 XCW. The forks are Xplor 48s. What this kit does is convert your forks from a lopsided rebound on one side and a compression on the other to compression and rebound on each side for more tunability and a better feel. Alright guys, start by clamping your forks in the soft jaws. I like to clean the forks before opening them up. I like to turn my clickers all the way out, it's just a habit. This part is a little tricky. Hold onto the spring and push up on the cap. Once you get the spring pulled down far enough, slide your 24mm wrench in and let the spring rest on the wrench. I have a trick to make this easier in the compression video. Grab your preload adjuster wrench or an 1 3/4 socket. The actual preload wrench is a better option. It's important you loosen the cap by the preload adjuster at this point and not with the blue cap wrench. Clamp your fork and get ready to remove the rebound base valve with your 17mm hex bit. Go through your parts and make sure they are all clean for reassembling. I use a heat gun to soften up the plastic so it's easier to remove. The zip tie is keeping the lip from falling back into the groove. Use a small flat blade screwdriver to pry up on the seal. Next, you're going to want to take a flat blade screwdriver and remove the snap ring. Use a heat gun or a gas torch to warm up the aluminum. The heat will expand the aluminum tube and make it easier to remove the lower fork tube. Give it a good tug. So luckily that missed my calipers. Remember guys, dealing with suspension, you want everything to be as clean as it can be. First is your outer bushing, followed by your inner bushing, then retaining washer and inner seal. Clamp the rebound rod into the shaft holding tool supplied by Racetech. Spin off the lock nut and remove the aluminum inside tube. Take your 10mm socket and remove the shaft nut. Racetech claims there isn't any peening on this shaft, so you don't need to file anything. but I could see the end of the shaft had some type of painting. The nut came off, but I did have to file a bit to get the nut back on. Next, check your DVS to see if you need a bleed hole. If so, the DVS will also let you know what size of bit you'll need. For my settings, I'll need a 1.3mm drill bit for my bleed hole. Drill through one of the rebound ports on the side. It doesn't matter which one of the 3 ports you drill into. Rebound side has 3 holes facing upwards. Clamp the gold valve into soft jaws and use a small punch to make an indent on the brass. This will help your drill bit from tracking. Try to center the punch mark as best you can. Take your time because it's brass, so it's really soft. Tap light to medium for the punch mark. The reason I'm using this drill adapter on a drill is because the bit is so small it wouldn't work in the drill by itself. When drilling, make sure to drill straight. You don't have much area to work with, so take your time and be careful. You shouldn't have any problems. Take some memory cloth and clean up any burrs. A small round file can get the inside. Don't get too carried away with the file. Brass is soft. Blow them off and make sure they are clean and ready to install. Grab your screwdriver and drop on your single or 2-stage rebound followed by your gold valve, with the rebound ports facing down. Then drop on your single stage or 2-stage mid-valve shims. The DVS will determine if it's a single stage or a 2-stage shim stack. Clamp the rebound rod into the shaft holding tool. If the shaft nut doesn't want to start, take a file and do some light filing around the edges to clean up the threads. Don't mess up the threads. Test fit your shaft nut to make sure it screws down properly. So next you're going to want to install the spring Racetech provides. It's thinner than the stock spring. Next, install the 2-stage or single-stage mid-valve shims. These little shims sit inside the recessed part of the gold valve. Next, install the gold valve with the recessed side facing down and the rebound side facing up. Install the 2-stage or single-stage rebound shims. Next, install your base plate. Pay attention to the stack heights. Screw down and torque the shaft nut to 2.5 foot-pounds. Use Loctite as well. Go over your shims and make sure everything looks correct. For some reason I don't have the video of me torquing this, but torque them down to 2.5 foot-pounds and no more. Double check your float. Float is the distance the mid-valve stack moves before it has to bend. Here we have the red factory rebound we took out. To the left is the new compression base valve we'll be installing. This is what makes the forks compression on both sides. So number one, you have the sleeve washer, the check spring, check plate, compression gold valve with the recess up, low speed stack, crossover, high speed stack, base plate, LSV stack, and LSV base. Organize your shims on a piece of wire and get ready to install your stacks. Use Loctite and a torque wrench. Torque the nut to the spec on your DVS sheet. Don't over tighten this. This is critical. Double check your work after you're done to make sure all the shims look right and remove any excess Loctite. If the ports aren't covered, there won't be enough dampening. Also make sure your check plate moves freely. Give your compression base valve one final clean before installing. Thread it in and use a torque wrench and torque it to 25 foot-pounds. Take some grease and coat the inside of the outer seal. Install the 48mm Motion Pro fork seal bullet. Lightly apply grease to the shaft and bullet. Apply some grease to the inside of the seal. Next, install the retaining clip or snap ring, followed by your inner fork seal. Clean up any remaining grease and remove the fork seal bullet. Next is the flat ring. Lube the inner bushing with some fork fluid and install. Do the same with the outer fork bushing and it should sit between the grooves. Grab the other half of the fork tube and slide everything in. Get it tight with your fingers and then use the seal driver to seat the inner seal. Give it a few good taps and you'll hear it turn from a low-pitched thud to a higher-pitched thud. You'll also feel it seat. Install the snap ring and make sure it's seated. You'll hear it click into place. Slide up your seal and lock it in place. You can use your seal driver for this as well. I like Motor X 5-weight for my forks. Dump in oil until you can see it and cycle the shaft inside to remove any air bubbles. Take your time and make sure you get all the air bubbles out. So next, grab your Motion Pro fork oil level gauge and set it to 110 millimeters. Start removing the fluid. Keep sucking the oil out until there appears to be no more coming through the line. Next, install your spring. Screw the cap all the way down until it lightly bottoms out on that aluminum tube. After the cap is lightly seated on the tube, bring up the lock nut. Lower it in and screw everything together. Tighten it with the Motion Pro cap wrench. I'm installing the SKF mud scrapers. They say to only use them if it's muddy out, but I'll be leaving mine on full time. It's not really practical to be taking your fork apart and trying to remove the black fork guard guide out on the trail and messing around with this. If they wear out, I'll just buy new ones. A lot of people swear by them, so I thought I'd try them out. Install your forks and torque the triple clamps. Alright guys, that pretty much wraps up the gold valve installation. If you have found this video helpful, give it a like. And consider subscribing to our channel. We will have more tech videos like this on the way. Thanks for watching.